If 2-year-olds were 2 meters tall, weighed 100 kilos, and had access to weapons, their aggressive behavior could cause serious harm.
In studying emotion in very young children, we see 5 or 6 early emotional expressions. Anger is one, fear is another, disgust is a third, sadness is a fourth, interest is a fifth, and happiness is a sixth. It shows on the face and in the body and even some physiology. So you can have these emotional states, including anger, from birth on.
Researchers made a troubling discovery, one that has shaken up modern psychological theories on the origins and causes of physical violence. Humans are most likely to resort to physical aggression around the age of 2.
What provokes tantrums? A wonderful question. They seem on the surface to be provoked by the most trivial of reasons. You have buttered the wrong side of the toast for the child. The child wants his milk in a green cup, not the blue cup. You've taken 1 second too long to deliver the cereal. These are all primary examples of things that will trigger tantrums.
And they will hit you, and they will bash at you. And if they can't get their way, they will scream and put up an immense scene and throw themselves to the ground.
All right, let's get into it. Today, looking at Mars, aggression. Now, we've seen in that video there some traits of aggression. Okay, temper tantrums, yelling, fighting, things of that nature. Mars, of course, is aggression, among other things, but we're going to look at it in the realm of aggression. It rules Aries, the god of war. That's fitting, is it not? And its element is fire. Now, let's understand something here. These psychologists, well-educated men, and that one that named those 6 emotions, and you may say, what? Emotions? I thought the moon was emotions. Well, it is. But if you'll remember back to our video at Venus, Venus is the planet, the properties of love. Of course, among other things. But baseline, we look at it as love, which is an emotion. Mars, aggression. Again, which is an emotion. And so let's look at the big picture here. When we look at a picture of our solar system, or at least the 7 planets, from the sun out to Saturn, we find our planet Earth. And we find the moon, emotions, circling around it. And then we find to either side those 2 planets, Venus, love, and Mars, aggression. Remember the last update video that I just made? For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against powers, Mars, and principalities, Venus. And that moon is in there, okay? Also, that's the goddess. Now, when we look at the sun, we're dealing with our ego. That's something that takes time and practice to navigate in conformity with our will. as does our communication. When we look at Jupiter with luck and fortune, those are things that are outside of ourselves. When we look at Saturn, the sage, the teacher, that's the culmination of everything from the sun out to there. What have we learned about ourselves? But we have the moon orbiting our planet. And then on either side of our planet, we have an emotion of love in Venus, principalities. We have an emotion of aggression in Mars, powers. And the trick here in the middle on Earth, us, our realm, is to find a balance within those dynamics. That's why I'm going to bring up today the middle pillar ritual. And if I'm going to bring up the middle pillar ritual, it would be irresponsible of me to not bring up the banishing ritual, so that we can banish those negative qualities, and then through the middle pillar ritual we can obtain balance. So we're going to look at those rituals today. Now, I find it particularly interesting, and I hope that I can express this in a manner that you will, in turn, also find it interesting. These men that were in this clip here at the beginning are all psychologists and behavioral experts. And the one man said that we see that from birth on, aggression is part of the human condition. But in those clips we've seen, there were some children that were mutually aggressive, and there were some that it was a one-sided aggression. Now, that video is dealing in psychology. That video is dealing in psychology. But could it be possible that those children which are aggressive, whether mutually aggressive or one-sidedly aggressive to others, it would be interesting to know where Mars lines up in their chart. And then those children that were being the recipients of the aggression and didn't reciprocate it back, it'd be interesting to know where Mars is in their birth chart. And with that being said, let me say this. Science is once again, let me say it that way, science is once again coming to a point where it understands how integrally science and occultism, and I say the word occultism because there's several branches, but how they do not oppose one another, yet complement and coalesce with one another. These gentlemen are taking it from a behavioral standpoint and trying to fix an issue with only one tool in their chest, so to speak, in their tool chest. Whereas if they would, and you can tell that that's an older video, but if they would bring in their knowledge and their expertise along with an astrologer to find the root, I believe they would do those children even more service. So you see, astrology is not just about, a matter of fact, astrology is not fortune telling. It's about knowing yourself. And when you know yourself, that is enlightenment, the beginning of it. That is the beginning of empowerment. But Mars holds sway over aggression. Venus holds sway over love. The moon over our emotions. And we're smack dab in the middle with the moon going around us. So today, once again, we're going to look at the banishing ritual of the pentagram. And we're going to look at the middle pillar ritual.